The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy. You're invited. To Zion.
Shalom, shalom.
Lost, but now I'm found. I'm a child of Israel. I heard the sound. You hear the sound. Please give me the strength to stand today. With my eyes towards the east, show me the way to Zion. I'm on my knees, laying my life on the line. I'm begging, please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Place my feet, Lord, guide my path. Show me the way to Zion. I opened up the book and see that the apple of your eye included me. And through the tribulation, I know I must stand for a new heaven, a new earth. Show me the way to Zion. I'm on.
That's right, brothers and sisters. That's right. I'm Elder Ricard Shiara of the Gathering of Christ Church, here live with our weekly Sabbath, along with Elder Lawyer. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom to our brothers and sisters throughout the four corners of the earth. The four corners of the earth. Bless you. All right, we're going to jump right in with our Sabbath lesson. But before I do so, let me just put this out there on the Sabbath that I thank you all for your participation, your prayers, and all your efforts to support this church. I really appreciate that. And hey, we're going all the way to Zion. I wanted to put that out there with you all. First and foremost, thank you for all you do to support the church. Yes, Hebrew and Bible Academy. Tomorrow we're going into the 4 beasts of Daniel, leading to the mark of the beast. Okay, for those who are participating in this, and the Zoom will be open for more interactions with our Hebrew and Bible Academy. All right. Now, before I go into the lesson, I have a lot of at the end of this, I do have a lot of updates, as well as shalom to you all. I have some updates that I would like to give you all on where the church is going, what the Most High have put in our hearts to do to make sure that there's refuge at the end of all this. All right. So I want to say that not only with you supporting the academy, also if you can continue to go to gatheringofchrist.org and support what's there, as well as making sure you're sending tithes, offerings, and financial help to the church, okay? All right? When that comes in, that doesn't come to me specifically unless you make an offering to me, all right? If you're sending something to the church, that's the church, all right? And the reason why, brothers and sisters, I'm putting this out there right now, okay, is because we're looking into doing some very, very serious, important purchases, land, everything, so that we can provide food for our people. Food and refuge, shelter, all of that, okay? So we're looking into things now. We need our own animals, our own farms, our own lands, everything. And we're pretty close to closing something very soon. But we're going to need your financial support for this, okay? All right. So also what we're looking into is to make sure that on our own land, we can put our own venues on it. For Passovers, whatever the case is, it'll be within the body, our own venues. There's so much money go out each year. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars goes out just so that we can come together and gather. All right. When we need to start keeping a lot of that in-house, okay, this way, preparation can be had with the money that do come in. All right. Preparation that can help the people instead of us just paying these venues and all this other stuff. And there's nothing on the back end that can help our people when things break down. So I'm going to continue to say thank you, but there's more that must be done. None like these churches out here, these, and I'm sure they're doing the best they can, but we don't apply for grants and all these other things that other churches take full advantage of. We don't go get grants and loans from governments. All the support that happens in this church comes from the grassroots. The brothers and sisters who have benefited from the ministry and have supported us out of the kindness of your hearts. Okay? We don't apply for any government subsidies or anything like that. Anything that we've accumulated is through the Spirit of the Almighty, through your help. Okay? So I wanted to put that out there and say thank you, but there's much more to do. Because who knows where this is going, all right? When I say who knows, the Most High knows. But when I say who knows where this is going in particular, who knows how long they're going to allow us to operate the way we're doing. So we have to begin to pivot as they bring forth the New World Order system. Understanding what's coming down the pipeline and have an answer on this earth through God for our people. Okay, so we must have an answer to everything they're putting in place. Speaking of that, one day it may come a time where all of these platforms will be purchased by corporations. And with those purchases, that's right, just like YouTube and other platforms, that's right, they will censor what can be said. And eventually, like they're doing in these public schools, they may make it misinformation, just teaching the Bible. Okay? Religious freedoms are being taken away. Okay? And we're being ran in this earth by a new government spearheaded through China. A lot of you probably don't know this, but the Chinese model has now been applied to America and the rest of the world. So in that, censorship is a part of that to cut people off from understanding what's going on according to God. So because of that, through the Spirit of the Almighty and your help, we're building our own platform. Our own platform where we'll have our academy there, our own videos there, our own platform all together so that if anything happens where other platforms are censored, we'll have our own. Where you can come in, chat, videos, same thing we have here. We're building in the background right now on a separate site as we speak. Unlimited, I'm going to tell you, bandwidth, servers, you name it, we're doing it. Okay? To show you we're not just sitting on our laurels. We believe what the Most High have given us and taught us. And through your help, the Most High have allowed us to put something in place, an infrastructure to counter the censorship. Because at the end of this, brothers and sisters are going to want, they're going to try to figure out where we are on this internet. The same thing that happened during the virus, everyone started linking in. Well, suppose that option isn't available. The Most High had us think forward with that and say, you know what? There must be a place that they can find us that isn't purchased by big corporations. A corporation can't come into the Gathering of Christ Church and say, well, you have a nice platform here, like YouTube or Ustream or others, and say, we'll give you $1 billion if you allow us to take over that brand or that website. The answer is no. The website and our work belongs to the people of God. That's it. So they're not going to be able to come in and take that platform, which might be the last source of interaction before everything goes down. So brothers and sisters, we're working, and you have to understand how many years I've said that, listen, who knows how long this thing is going to be where they'll allow us to do what we're doing. And now YouTube have all these rules. You have to watch what you say, bite your tongue, all of these things, because why? They don't want us connecting to people, giving them the truth according to God. And guess what? They have the right to do so. This is their platform. So now the Most High have us pivoting. And what I'm talking about, folks, you can do the research, okay? What I'm talking about and maintaining isn't at all a cheap enterprise. Isn't at all. What I'm talking about doing through this, what we're going to do, and it's going to happen, takes a lot of resources. Okay? So we've already got the ball rolling on that, and you'll be hearing a lot about that as this goes. And then, hey, if something happens where we can't communicate or the whole grid goes down, even if we have to do snail mail, the Most High have allowed us through the academy and through your interactions to get what? Email, as well as, for those who would like, real-time mail interaction. So if something goes down, we'll send out letters. Okay? We'll send out letters to everyone and say, this is what's going down. This is what you must do next. We'll meet you in the wilderness. Okay? So I'm just putting that out there with you, brothers and sisters, that we're not sitting on our laurels. It takes a lot of resources to do what we're doing. And the Most High have given us the understanding and the people within this church and the manpower, including you all, to plan forward. Okay? So I wanted to put that out there real quick. So let's go into the lesson. Of course, I'll make announcements at the end of this, but I just wanted to let you all know that plans are in place. And these plans are through the Holy Spirit. They're through the Holy Spirit, which gave us through the Most High the gospel and the understanding to do what's getting done here. Okay? So I wanted to put that out there to you. And guess what? Everything isn't for everyone. It's not like every week we're going to give out a report. Yeah, this, by the way, this is how we're doing it and this is what we're doing. That's not smart. So we give you a general idea of where it's going. Because the enemy would like to stop things or try to interrupt before the opportunity is founded, before we're able to accomplish what needs to be accomplished to present to people. So let me put that out there. Okay. But I'll tell you this, everything we said we would do since the beginning for those who interacted with us have been done. Everything. Okay, I want to put that out there. So we wouldn't be telling you about this if the ball wasn't rolling already. Okay. All right. But I just want to put that out there with you all. Okay. And you'll be getting update reports on everything. Okay. It may be a few months from now and we'll say, remember that little update I gave you on the Sabbath? It's finished. Here's the link. Go. Come on, let's do it. It's finished. That's how it is. I don't think it's smart. I don't think it's intelligent to get out there and just tell people every little thing you're doing before it's accomplished, not knowing who's amongst us and who can come in to try to foil things. That's not wisdom. It's our job, our real obligation to the people. Our real obligation, folks, to all the people is just to teach. Everything on the outside of that is what we're doing in preparation. But our obligations are fulfilled just teaching the word of God. I hope you all understand that. Our obligation is fulfilled as priests of the Almighty as well as the apostleship to set up churches, to warn and teach the people the word of God. And guess what? If we only did that, folks, believe it or not, that would actually suffice because that's all we're commanded to do. That's all we're commanded to do is to teach the word. But still, no. We expect more of ourselves in finishing this. We're not just going to sit here and just be teachers and not put real-time resources into action to help our people at the end of it. Because what happens? When the crap hits the fan, all your TD Jakes, your creative flow of dollars, who's getting billions of dollars out of our people, they're going to be on a jet somewhere out of here, separated from the people. Okay? That's where they're going to be. They're not going to be down in the dirt, in the mud, the grassroots. Soon as this stuff shut down, they're gone. Because what they think, the only obligation that they have is just to teach and not give back to the people in time of trouble. That's not what's going on here. Okay? So I'm going to emphasize once more, go to gatheringofchrist.org and support this church. Support this church. So there's resources so there'll be resources on the back end of this. Okay? All right. Elder Lawyer, let's start the lesson. The brain and attack on God's temple.
Sir. Shemai Yasha'Allah Ahaya Allahayanawa Ahaya Akkad.
Shemai Yasha'Allah Ahaya Allahayanawa Ahaya Akkad.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one God. Okay? Thank you, and please hit the like button as you come in. Let's begin our lesson. The brain, an attack on God's temple. An attack on God's temple. Brothers and sisters, you probably haven't recognized this, but there's been an uptick within mainstream media about the brain or mental health, right? Well, the reason why there's so many dysfunctional mental health issues is why there's an attack on the brain. There've always been an attack on the brain. Why? Because the brain connects all within the universe, all of us, to a source. The brain is the antenna to the invisible. It connects us to our God. The brain also represents to our temple what God is to the heavens. It's the Most High's consciousness that controls everything. So Satan have found a way to disrupt that signal so that he could have servants to do his bidding in the earth, hence a divide. What I want to talk about today is not just the attack on the brain, but how we can now take full ownership of what God gave us. A beautiful mind. A beautiful mind. Now that mind encompasses so many variables, right? It's so many variables. And I'm going to go into it today, right? Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir.
Let's go to first, God is a spirit. Let's go to John 4:24. So when it talks about the brain, it also breaks down what? The temple. Right? Now think about this. When Gentiles go to worship, Buddhists, Muslims, Catholics, where do they go when they go to worship? They go into temples. So what they're not telling you is that there's a source of energy in these religions they're connecting to. Right? A temple. They believe they're connecting with God. Right? But we're going to break this down. John 4:24, Elder Lawyer, read it.
Yes, sir. St. John 4:24.
Yes.
The Most High is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth.
So if we're going to talk about the brain, we must talk about what? We must explain the life source of all consciousness. God himself. He's the brain. He's the brain of all brains. I am that I am, he told Moses. I've always existed. The Most High is a what?
Is a spirit.
The Most High God is a spirit.
And they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth.
And they who worship him in the temple must worship him in spirit and in truth. So if you're going into a temple to connect with God and there's no truth being taught there, that's right, folks. You have connected to a lower consciousness, a lower God who's guiding you for his purpose. Now, we're going to show you the difference between the two today. The lower brain, which is the God of this world, and the greatest brain, a higher. Christ told us that the Most High God is a spirit, which means, let me pull this up real quick, the 24th verse. 4:24, and we're going to pull this up in the Greek. For God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. Okay, let's get that spirit real quick. One moment. Let's grab the word spirit. spirit. A breath, like the Holy Spirit, a breeze. It go where it listeth. A spirit that is human, right? The rational soul, the vital, listen, the vital principle. Check this out, folks. I need y'all to look at this. Mental disposition. A mental, as they call it, disposition, when really it's the mind. The Most High God is the mind of the universe, right? Superhuman. An angel, daemon, or a divine God. A divine God, a spirit. So the Most High is a spirit. He is a spirit. The mind, the first mind who made all we see. Elder Lloyd, let's get that in Job real quick, where it talks about him putting a line around things. Before anything existed, there was a mind. Now, with this mind, he brought forth a spirit from himself, which is the Holy Spirit. It would be what? A mirror of his own kindness, which would be the example of nurturing mothers in the earth who would come from Adam. And then through those two came life, the first spirit of truth, which also became what? The light of the world, the spirit that would one day reside in the man who was born and is called today Jesus Christ, Yeshua in the Hebrew. Right? So the first mind of the Most High was to create in the heavens family, father, mother, child, life. And through that life, that male life in the heavens, would come angels, the heavenly order, the temple of God. And it would extend itself all the way to this place that's called in the Bible, the face of the deep. The face of the deep is where the Most High's mind would create this place called earth. Okay, let's go. Come on.
Yes, sir. Job 38, verse number 4. Where wast thou when I laid the foundation of the earth?
Where was you when he laid the foundations of the earth?
Declare if thou hast understanding.
Come on.
Who have laid the measures thereof, if thou knowest, or who have stretched the line upon it?
Come on.
Whereupon the foundations thereof fastened? Or who laid the cornerstone thereof?
Who laid the cornerstone? Read.
When the morning stars sang together.
When the morning stars sang together. The morning stars were before earth. These are the angels that sing before the Most High each morning. Christ led the morning stars. Lucifer, the fallen angel, was one of those. Morning stars shows what? It actually shows a position of angels within the heavenly realm who sing before the Most High each morning. Come on.
When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy.
And all the sons of God shouted for joy. So these morning stars were what? They are who? They're the children of God, the angels. So when it says sons of God, it's not just talking about people who were born on earth. It's speaking of the rank and orders under Christ in heaven. That's right, Genesis 6:1. when the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and came in and had children with them, which led to a flood. The Most High had to kill everything because of this. He had to destroy the earth because of it. Right? So it's showing you the mind of God. Where were you when the greatest mind began to what? Create, to make a plan that was created from the beginning, a beginning and an ending made before the earth was created. Right? Now let's go, Elder Lawyer, to 2nd Ezra 6 and 54. And the reason why I'm going here is to show you why there's such an attack on the brain. A concentrated attack on God's people, on us. Now, there's a reason why the other nations have continually attacked us. First, being led through their religion, their temples. See? You have to realize these people who come into our community are highly religious people. They just serve a different God. These Arabs, these Chinese people, these East Indians. They went into the temple of their God and came out with an initiative. See? It's their brain under a lower vibration with their God against the children of God. Now, the reason why they are attacking us, folks, has nothing to do with race or the color we are. It has everything to do with what was prophesied in us to preach and the light we would bring forth to destroy the darkness of this earth. They have to suppress us, knowing that we were prophesied to one day change the whole world. We were prophesied to be the teachers of this earth and to tear down the God they serve. So this thing is more spiritual than anything. This is why they suppress us or oppress us. It's religious, folks. It's an attack against what? A serious consciousness, as they would like to call it in their Asian religions. A consciousness greater than theirs. And they're seeking to separate us from that mind. An attack on the brain, folks. I'm going to show you. The last thing we should have done was allow them, listen to me clearly, to begin to not only psychoanalyze us, but to come up with solutions and all these things. I'm trying to be respectful to YouTube's guidelines here. To come up with things to treat our brains. You're going to find out as we go into this lesson, all the dysfunction that's going on amongst our people was socially engineered, and it was intentional to make us dysfunctional. It was all intentional. Right? 2nd Ezra 6 and 54. Let's read it.
Yes, sir. 2nd Ezra chapter 6, verse number 54. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen.
So all of us come from Adam. But it says also the people whom he has chosen. See, the other nations have a problem with us being the chosen people, folks. That's an issue for them. Right? So now Ezra is speaking to our God here. You made the whole earth. You put the line around the earth. You created this for Adam. Earth was supposed to be what? The paradise for the chosen. Right? Read.
55. All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes.
And even Ezra's mentioned, you made the world for us. Read.
As for the other people,
As for the other races outside of the 12 tribes of Israel, read,
which also come of Adam,
which also come of Adam,
thou hast said that they are nothing,
thou have said that they are nothing,
but be like unto spittle.
but be like unto spit. Why would Esdras make such a claim if he didn't realize these nations were worshiping in satanic temples? Why would Esdras the prophets say the nations are nothing, that they're spit, if he didn't have the knowledge of them worshiping the dark forces in their temples? Now, this is not to say that all the Gentile nations are nothing. No, because I'm going to go into the Bible and show you the end for not just us, but the Gentile nations who also get their brains back to serve the living God. Okay? We must yield our vessels to worship in what? The correct temple. So here it is. Ezra said, these nations are nothing. Why? They're pagans. They're evildoers. There's witches. They're warlocks. They're the enemies, not just to us, but to our God. These are the enemies who would uphold their own cultures and records and satanic religious history and downplay the power of your book. See? They'll say your book is nothing. You Hebrews books, it's nothing. See? And now Ezra has countered this. God, you told us in Isaiah that they're nothing. Why? Because the nations worship Satan. That's why. And the last thing you want is Satanist charting the direction for you and your family. Okay? Read.
As for the other people which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing.
Thou have said that they are nothing,
but be like unto spittle,
but be like unto spit.
And is likened the abundance of them as a drop that falleth from a vessel.
Now, by the end of this lesson, you're going to understand why Ezra said this about them. You're going to understand it, how the United Nations have come together under Satan. That's right, folks. Under Satan. The United Nations have come together under Satan, folks, with an intentional attack on our temple, on our brain. They're together with this. See? Read.
Verse number 57.
Come on.
And now, O Lord, behold these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us.
They have began to become lords over us. The same people God said are nothing have become our doctors, our trusted politicians. We even have trusted these evildoers to become the teachers, the first teachers of our children. We've allowed Satanists, witches, warlocks, evildoers, sinners. We've allowed them to educate our children, folks. And in turn, these evildoers have turned the children against the parents. Everything the Bible said in the book of Matthew 24, what Christ said is going on right now. And none of us, once while working hard, have realized that the turning of our children has happened within the school systems. It's not school at all, folks. It's a religion. It's a religion to indoctrinate us against our God. And that's where the brain, that's where they start to attack the brain early. Now, at one time, it was subtle. We would see subtle changes in our children from day to day going into these schools. But now it's outright blatant. in front. That these schools have become temples that would turn the children against the parents to initiate what? Our children into Satan's army. See? Come on.
And now, O Lord, behold, these heathen which have been reputed as nothing, has begun to be lords over us, and to devour us.
And to devour us. Can you imagine? You think they would allow us to go over into their countries and set up schools and re-educate and re-educate their children? And become the doctors over them and the psychologists and psychiatrists over their children to socially engineer them into thinking into a what you would call social reality that benefits our people? Do you think they would allow me to go over to China and set up schools and all types of systems and become the doctors to prescribe and all that over their people? See, folks, you don't realize when you're under a religious attack, when you're under a psychological attack. It's called, under the American government, PSYOPs. Psychological operations. It starts in the brain. Right? So even Ezra is saying, you said these people are nothing, but now they become lords over us and they're teaching our children. Come save us. Come help us with the original promise you gave Adam that one day the children of Israel will rule again. See, hence the reason the Most High set up what? On earth, he set up a temple initially when our forefathers, the children of Israel, exited Egypt. He set up a temple so that we can understand. Listen, so that we can understand how to connect directly to the brain source that's the highest brain source since the beginning, the Most High. He set up a temple in the wilderness and said, this is how you connect. And through this connection, receive everything. All the other Gentile nations will connect through the hive mind of what? The Tower of Babel. They'll connect to the lower God who constructed the Tower of Babel. That's one level. You'll connect beyond that to me. The Spirit. Elder Lawyer, let's get Exodus 25 and let's read the first verse. Let's go back to where the Most High was speaking to Moses.
Sir, the book of Exodus chapter 25, verse number 1.
Come on.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, that they may bring me an offering of every male that giveth it willingly with his heart. Ye shall take my offering. And this is the offering which ye shall take of them, gold and silver and brass, and blue and purple and scarlet, and fine linen, and goat's hair, and ram skins dyed red, and badger skins, and shittim wood, oil for the light, spices for anointing oil, and for sweet incense, onyx stones, and stones to be set in the ephod and in the breastplate. And let them make me a sanctuary, that I may dwell among them.
Let me make them a sanctuary, that I may dwell amongst them. The temple. Now imagine a people guided on earth from the life source itself. The life source of all creation. Imagine, folks, that it's our people worshiping in the true temple with the true belief that was given since Adam. Now, either you're worshiping in the right temple with that God, or you're worshiping in the Tower of Babel with Satan as your God. Hold that and let's get two masters. Hold that and let's get two masters real quick.
Say Matthew chapter 6, verse number 24. No man can serve two masters.
You're either serving one or the other. Either you're serving the temple of God with what they would call the correct religion, or you're serving Satan, folks. There is no dabbling on either side or the middle. Either you're dealing with a true worship that was set up, or you're worshiping Satan. Read it.
No man can serve two masters.
No man can serve two masters.
For either he will hate the one and love the other.
Either you will love the one or hate the other. See? Now, when people claim that the Bible is tampered with, that they don't believe in the God of the Bible, folks, you have to understand what they're telling you. Satan is their master. Satan sits in their mind. Satan is in their mind. Because outside of the truth of this Bible, outside of this are what? Satanic temples and beliefs, including atheistic or agnostic beliefs. All of that is what? The dark side. See? Read.
Or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon.
You cannot serve God and mammon. See? And when you go into that word mammon, it also breaks down to what? A system. A monetary system where in God we trust, where you will set your morality based on finances. Based on, that's right, you will compromise your morality for money. So Satan knew to set up what? An economic system that would compromise God's people. And that system would lead to what? You worshiping in the temple of Satan and eventually being used at the very end for what we are about to show you. Let's go back to Exodus. What verse you left?
Verse 8.
Read that verse again.
Yes, sir. Exodus 25, verse number 8.
Come on.
And let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them.
That I may dwell among them. Read.
According to all that I show thee, after the pattern of the tabernacle, and the pattern of all the instruments thereof, even so shall ye make it.
Even so shall ye make it. See? So here it is. God is showing his people the true worship, the true beliefs, the true understanding on how to connect to the highest brain, God himself. See? But there was a plan. Let's go to Isaiah. Because the Bible says that you cannot serve two masters. So Satan promised that he would one day go up into the temple of God. And he would go up into the temple of God. The Tower of Babel wasn't just, brothers and sisters, a physical construct. The Tower of Babel was a technological construct, an antimatter construct, a portal opener. But in order for them to actually accomplish the Tower of Babel, the people at that time had to be of one mind, using the energy within them that came from God himself. Because there's a part of the Most High in all of us. He created our brain. He created the antenna that could connect with him. See? So Satan needed that same energy the Most High created at the Tower of Babel to get back to the throne of the Almighty in what the Bible calls the Battle of Armageddon. the hive mind. The only way that they can include you with the dark master under a hive mind, they must connect you from the sanctuary, the temple of God, the true religion that God intended for his people. And I'm using religion, just, so that you can all understand, from a general standpoint, because everyone know that religion means, or they think it means, a belief in God. Okay? There's only one true belief, folks. The government construct that we see today is a Babylonian construct. It's religious. The military of the earth that's set up today, it's not set up for defense, folks. It's part of their religion. The hospitals, the institutions, all government institutions, including schools, it's part of their religion. It's the Babylonian construct, the hive mind to oppose God's temple. Listen to me clearly. There's only two masters. Let's read it, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Isaiah 14, verse 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer?
Here's the other master right here. Lucifer is the god of this world. And he's seeking to disconnect all people from our God so that you can plug into him. By default, if he can disconnect you by default, folks, your morality has been compromised and you begin to connect with a hive mind, and through that can be easily controlled. See? Mind control. This can happen when he begins to disconnect one from the ultimate spirit, God himself. That's the first form of mental illness, if you want to put it that way. When one disconnects from God. And this is why the Bible states, a fool in his heart say there is no God. A fool. See? This is why the Most High said that's the highest level of mental illness. Because through God comes what? A moral compass. A purpose for family. See? The Bible, God itself, the Bible gives us a moral conscience, a moral compass. Read.
How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer?
Come on.
Son of the morning.
Son of the morning. He was one of the morning stars. Read.
How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations?
Come on.
For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God.
You see the plan? I will ascend into heaven. Well, folks, he cannot accomplish this mission without the people on earth serving him in his temples. He's using the life source that came from God for himself. See? Read.
I will exalt my throne above the stars of God.
I'm going back out in space. That was the plan. I'm going into the heavens. Outside of our firmament called the ozone layer. When you look out there, that's heaven, folks. Earth have become the fallen one's prison. The government leaders of the earth. The 70 falling over the 70 nations are controlling all governments. Okay, this is the crap they talking about, extraterrestrials and aliens and all that old other crap. Nah, it's the 70 gods that have set up Babylonian constructs all over the earth to disconnect people from our God and to target us from ever outing them. But they couldn't stop it. It was prophesied that the children of Judah, Israel would stand up like a lion and proclaim this truth. And cast a light into the darkness to bring Israelites and Gentiles from out of the darkness back to the true sanctuary and temple of God. Read it.
I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north.
I'm going to sit in the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I'm going back into the high temple, the place of high consciousness where all was made, the brain of the universe. But in order to do that, he had to do what? Read that piece again.
For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north.
So if you're going to sit in the mount of the congregations in the sides of the north, he first must sit what? In the mount of our temple. The brain. Because why? He cannot do it without physical help within the earth. Let's go to the Tower of Babel when it says the people were of one mind.
Genesis chapter 11, verse number 1.
Come on.
And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech.
Of one speech. That means they were on one accord. That's right. Under one religion during the Babylonian time of Nimrod against the God of gods. That is what allowed them to build the temple. They were disconnected from our God and began to serve not just Nimrod, but Lucifer. So that's right. So they had to set up a system to disconnect these people, the sons and daughters of Noah, from the original worships, the original temple. Come on.
And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain and the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly.
Now look at this, folks. Now everyone look at this as just a construct, a building. No, folks. This was everything. This was their government. This was their temple. All religions of the earth in the earth today stems from this disobedient act. Be it Chinese, Japanese, Asian religions, Middle Eastern religions, you name it, even African religions, they all stem from this Tower of Babel. To have one mind against the God of the Hebrews. See? One mind. The 70 came down and split the tongues, split it in 70 nations, and they made a Babylonian religion. That's right. A Babylonian religion in a different language, serving that one God who split the tongues. And then what happened in the earth? Polytheism, the belief in many gods. Right here. Separated mankind from the highest consciousness, Ahaya, the great I am. So this wasn't just a building, folks. It was a religious temple. Also, it was a technological temple that would use, that's right, people as its energy to open up portals into the heavens, using the energy within the people, folks. And I know that sounds weird to you, right? Well, don't think it's too weird. Look at your screen. Look at your screen. Look at your screen. What's going on here? The Kaaba stone. The Kaaba. When you go into the research on the Kaaba stone, they claim it's a stone that fell from heaven. And they march around this Kaaba in Islam. But this is well before Islam, folks. They march around the Kaaba. When you do the history on this was to open up portal. This is to open up portals. So they march around it to use their energy like they once marched around the Tower of Babel. Using the energy of the people to open up realms. So if you disconnect them from their God, the true worship, they can be used as what? A brain, a resource under one mind to accomplish Isaiah, the 14th chapter. In one mind to open up realms so that gods can ascend and descend into the earth in connection with the governments of this earth, folks. You have one here and you have another at the Vatican. Another at the Vatican. Because through religion, you can disconnect people from God to do what? To do the will of what? The God they serve. You separate them from our God, and now they are now assimilated into the government's Borg to be controlled like batteries. So, folks, you know what? I'm going to say it again. You know what a religious attack looks like? Immigration. It's reinforcements to bring forth that mind against God and God's people. Bringing those religions, those ancient religions into our communities. But I digress. That's another conversation in of itself. John 1:14, Elder Lawyer. Let's go to Christ now. I'm in the book of John, the first chapter, in the 14th verse.
St. John chapter 1, verse number 14.
Come on.
And the Word was made flesh.
And the Word was what?
And the Word was made flesh.
The Word was made flesh, read.
And dwelt among us.
And dwelt among us, speaking of Christ.
And we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father.
And we beheld Christ's glory as the glory of the only begotten Father. So Christ would come into the earth to do what? To rebuild the temple. To establish the original belief before judgment on earth. So we see that the Most High gave us laws, statutes, commandments, and had a sanctuary amongst the Hebrews, which was what? A different belief system than the Gentiles. The Gentiles have a hive mind under Satan to fight God, to go against our God, and to destroy God's people. So the Most High, after Israel broke God's law, the moral codes, he had to send Christ to reestablish a way back to God's temple. See? Read that last piece again.
Yes, sir. St. John 1:14.
Come on.
And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us.
The Word was made flesh and dwelt amongst us. So now what we have here on earth through Christ is that mind from the beginning who created all walking amongst men. Creating a what? An invisible line between those who would serve the true temple. That's right. And those who would serve Satan in the pagan temples. Now, the Pharisees, scribes, and Amalek in particular, folks,
wanted that temple that was constructed through Solomon. Because they needed that temple, Isaiah the 14th chapter, to allow them to do what they're doing at the Kaaba stone and others to get back up where the Most High was. There's a gate at that temple. How do you know this? Because in the Old Testament, the Most High would come down on the congregation there. So they wanted, this is why they started selling in the temple and trying to make the temple into what the Tower of Babel was. Because they was going to do it there. They're going to set up the monetary system, the religious system. They was going to do it all in our temple. But when Christ was crucified, that temple split in two. The only place they could have accomplished the Tower of Babel was that place that goes directly to the sides of the north where the Most High is. See? But Christ split the temple in two at his death. So they had to work all this time to attempt to build the construct again. Hence the reason, World War II, the Balfour Agreement, where, that's right, England, under the Balfour Agreement, along with America and the United Nations, would give what? A state, a government to reestablish Palestine. So that they can be there at the very end, at the Wailing Wall, with Christians, Muslims, and Satanists at the wall to build the temple again. See? Now, everything I'm saying, I'm quantifying it for the sake of this lesson, folks. But I'm breaking down what? The attack on God's brain. Christ was an extension of that brain that would connect us back with the Father. Let's go to John 2:19.
St. John chapter 2, verse number 19.
Here you go. Coffee. Let's read it.
St. John 2, verse number 19.
Come on.
Yeshua answered and said unto them, destroy this temple.
See that? Christ said, destroy this temple. Right? Read.
And in 3 days I will raise it up.
And in 3 days I will raise it up. In 3 days I will raise it up. Now, of course, the governments at this time, the Roman government as well as the Amalek, Pharisee, and scribe sect of the Sanhedrin, they felt that he was talking about destroying the physical temple that they was going to utilize for Satan to build the construct again. Read.
St. John 2:19. Yeshua answered and said unto them, destroy this temple, and in 3 days will I raise it up.
Come on.
Then said the Jews, 46 years was this temple building.
46 years was this temple building. Read.
And wilt thou rear it up in 3 days?
Will you destroy this in what? 3 days? Read.
But he spake of the temple of his body.
But he spake of the temple of his body. The temple of his body. Now, I'm breaking this down, folks. Acts 7:48 real quick. To have you understand, folks, the significance of our brain and why they're focusing on our brains. Because within our temple is a brain that connects with the Almighty. So there's many ways of them disrupting the signal by causing dysfunction, by promoting sin, by separating families, anything to get us off of that connection. Even them talking about intersexuality and all these things, folks. It's all about just getting people off tilter. They don't really care about none of that crap, more so than disconnecting us from the signal.
while they build the tower. If they can disconnect you, then they can use you like what? Like Nimrod used the sons of Noah at the Tower of Babel. See? Read on. I need you to read, what verse you at, Elder Lawyer?
Acts 7:48.
And what verse did you leave off in John?
And John, that was 2 and I believe 20.
2 and 20?
Yes, sir. Or 21.
21. That's good then. Let's go now to Acts 7 and 48.
Acts 7 and 48.
Read.
Howbeit, the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hands.
The Most High dwelleth not in temple made with hands. Once that temple construct was broken, folks, it wasn't about your physical institutions like the Catholic Church, Islam. Folks, all of these particular temples, folks, are temples of Satan. Are temples of Satan. And then after this, Christ set up the 7 churches with the disciples. When you read this in the book of Revelation, he was establishing a sanctuary from Gentile religious satanic worship. And this is why he said in the book of Acts, Peter told him, the Most High ain't dwelling in these temples, these Gentile temples. That the plan is for them to fight against God and to destroy our people. They're sitting in our minds. They're indoctrinating us in these temples. They're separating us from our God in these temples. Read.
Howbeit, the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hands.
Come on.
As saith the prophet. Heaven is my throne.
Heaven is my throne. They go to brain again. Come on.
And earth is my footstool.
And earth is my, thank you, footstool. So now through Christ, there's a connection again. But that connection will not be in just some building. It's the Most High communicating with his people, like he once did in the wilderness. But instead of it physically happening, it will happen through what, folks? It will happen through spiritual interaction, spiritual signaling. So Satan would need to create the technology to disrupt that conversation we have with God. Our prayers when we go into a closet by ourselves, when we pray to the Almighty 3 times a day, when we go to him, privately, we're connecting. And you know what he does? He confirms and keeps that conversation going while we sleep. Let's get that real quick, Elder Lawyer. At the bed. So they're doing everything under mental illness to try to put us on some type of drug or whatever the case is to disrupt the signal. To disrupt the signal, folks. Let's read it.
Job 33, verse number 14. For the Most High speaketh once, yea, twice.
He speaketh once, and he speaketh twice now. Read.
Yet man perceiveth it not.
But yet man don't understand. The Most High is communicating directly from the heavens to them. The Most High says, I talk with you once, and I talk with you twice, but yet man can't perceive it. You don't understand how God communicates with you. Read.
15. In a dream, in a vision
In
of
a
the
what?
night.
In a what?
In a dream, in a vision of the night.
In a dream. In a vision of the night. Read.
When deep sleep falleth upon men.
When you fall asleep.
And slumberings upon the bed.
Come on.
Then he openeth the ears of men and sealeth their instruction.
He open your ears and seal your instruction. He talks with you. You'll get up one day, you wasn't thinking about anything. And you'll get up one day and you say, you know what? I don't know why, but I think that we're the people of the Bible. I don't know why I'm thinking this, but something tells me we must be the people. You don't even understand God told you that. He told you to go find him. He told you that you're chosen while you were asleep. And now you walk and mosey up on something and you think it's by chance, and the angels actually direct you to confirm that thought. It's the Most High sitting in your temple. And the only thing, and then the Bible tell you that you shall not be spread in corners anymore, for your eyes shall see your teachers. So out of nowhere, you see some guys with what you perceive a rag wrapped around their head, confirming everything you were thinking. See? Confirming everything that you thought but couldn't talk about, in fear of being called crazy. Read it again, other lawyer.
Yes, sir. In a dream and a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, and slumberings upon the bed, then he openeth the ears of men, and sealeth their instruction.
Come on.
That he may withdraw man from his purpose, and hide pride from man.
Exactly, and hide pride from man. Because now you're doing what you were instructed to do. It's the Most High on your brain, directing you. Read.
He keepeth back his soul from the pit, and his life from perishing by the sword.
Because your plan could have meant total death that day. The Most High know that what you were about to plan, it could have been something the next day that could have meant your life. Well, let me go around the corner. Let me go here. And the Most High know there's going to be some trouble there. So he gave you an entirely different plan today by sealing the instruction or changing your mind while you slept. Now, suppose Satan can get in and disrupt those signals. Don't you know there's technology amongst DARPA and government? And folks, this is not no alleged. You can look it up. The corporations are coming up with technology where they can advertise their products in your dreams while you sleep. Where you'll wake up and do what? You'll wake up and seek to buy something. Like they sit around tables and say, well, okay, how can we actually market our product in their sleep? They must know about this connection and seek to disrupt it. And I'm going to go there a little later on how they'll be able to do so. How they'll be able to do so. They know that when we sleep, we're connected to the sides of the north, the place Satan is trying to get to. We're connected to heaven, and they know it. Now, 1 Corinthians 3:16. So now when it says I dwell not in temples made with hands, that doesn't mean that you're not supposed to go to a church construct. Because the 7 churches were set up by Peter. Okay? What Peter was actually highlighting are the temples of the Gentiles that sit on our brains, that control us. And at the same time, separate us from God, like the Muslims, like modern day Christians. See? Like Buddhists, like the Asian Babylonian religion, Buddhists, Hinduism, like the East Indians. Right? Come on, other lawyer. Let's get 1 Corinthians 3:16.
1 Corinthians 3:16. Know ye not that ye are the temple of God?
Know ye not that ye are the temple of God?
And that the Spirit of God dwelleth within you?
And that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you?
If any man defile the temple of God.
See, but that's the key. If you defile the temple by sinning against God, you what? You disrupt, and I'm going to use verbiage one can understand. If we sin against God, we or that individual disrupts the download. Your sin, the Most High is always downloading in us. Information, communication. But if we sin against God, the download is disrupted. And this is where Satan comes in. So that now he can administer information. Read.
If any man defile the temple of God, him shall God destroy, for the temple of God is holy.
The temple of God is holy. Read.
Which temple ye are.
Which temple ye are. Now the Most High has given us instruction through the disciples, right? Through the epistles, on how to keep that communication we once had at the Most High sanctuary in the Old Testament. How to keep that connection going. To keep our brains pure. Right? Speaking of the download, Elder Lawyer, let's go to Hebrews 1 and 8. If the Most High is downloading and communicating with us, what is it that's actually being communicated? This is how you know. This is how you know that the download is working. And this download also let the Gentiles know that they must speed up their plans against us. So two things are happening. We're fulfilling something through this download prophetically. And by the Gentiles who watch us in our schools, our religious institutions, and see everything concerning us, when they see a glitch in the anomaly or the glitch in the matrix, they know they must speed it up because God is downloading. See? God is speaking to us. So, what is God's download? What is the sign to know that he's speaking to our people? Let's go to Hebrews 8 and 1, Elder Lawyer.
Hebrews 8, verse number 1.
Yes, sir. I'm going to read that all the way down to the 13th verse.
Yes, sir. Now of the things which we have spoken, this is the sum. We have such an high priest who is set on the right hand of the throne of the majesty in the heavens, a minister of the sanctuary and of the true tabernacle which the Lord pitched and not man.
So Christ walked amongst us, right? What he also did through his death was destroy the temple so that there's no pagan temple to connect us to God. So don't even think about going into one of these temples. They'll use you as a battery and indoctrinate you into satanic thoughts and compromise morality. They'll compromise your morality, having you believe the same time it's accepted by God. Christ destroyed the temple so that to let everyone know that we're not to go into these pagan temples to find God. He isn't there anymore. He was never there, a matter of fact. So now, on top of that, Christ presented himself before the disciples 3 days later, and then he was taken up into the heavens to sit on the right hand of the Almighty. Right? Now, read that last piece again.
Yes, sir. 8 and 1.
Come on.
Now of the things which we have spoken, this is the sum.
This is the sum. Let's sum it all up now. Read.
We have such an high priest who is set on the right hand of the throne of the majesty in the heavens.
So that same son that was sent amongst the world to show us the true sanctuary and path back to God. Christ says, I'm the way, the truth, the life. No man cometh to the Father but by me. The light of the world presented himself, and after his death and resurrection was finished, he sat as majesty on the right side of the Father. Back in the position he was in what? Creation. Right? So now we're going to talk about this download. How do you know the download is happening? Right? Read.
Verse 2. A minister of the sanctuary and of the true tabernacle which the Lord pitched, and not man.
And which the Lord pitched, not man. So this is a greater sanctuary than the one we received under Moses in the book of Exodus. Right? Because no longer does the Most High have to come down on the sanctuary now. There's a signal that comes directly from the heavens into our mind and instruct us while we sleep. I'm going to show you where we're going at here. Right? Come on.
Verse 3. For every high priest is ordained to offer gifts and sacrifices. Wherefore it is necessary that this man have somewhat also to offer.
Come on.
For if he were on earth, he should not be a priest, seeing that there are priests that offer gifts according to the law.
Come on.
Who serve unto the example and shadow of heavenly things, as Moses was admonished of God when he was about to make the tabernacle. For see, saith he, that thou make all things according to the pattern shown to thee in the mount.
He says you only make what's shown to thee in the mount. You're not to make anything outside of what's shown. You must connect directly to the heavens. And what? You cannot vary. You cannot bring your own opinion on how this should be. Right? Read.
Verse 6. But now hath he obtained a more excellent ministry, by how much also he is mediator of a better covenant.
A better covenant, an agreement, folks. What covenant? The agreement that Israel will rule this earth. A promise that was given to our father Abraham. Christ have come to confirm that agreement. And guess what, folks? He's consecrated that agreement with his very own blood. That our people who are suffering in this earth will one day rule. Read.
But now hath he ordained a more excellent ministry, by how much also he is the mediator of a better covenant, which was established upon better promises.
Come on.
Verse 7. For if that first covenant had been faultless, then should no place have been sought for the second.
Come on.
For finding fault with them, he saith.
For finding fault with them. Who did God find fault with? The children of Israel who broke the law. Read.
For finding fault with them, he saith, Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah.
The house of Israel, which were the 10 tribes who were scattered once the kingdom was split in 721 BC. The Baliquata Ino Indian, the so-called Puerto Ricans, the people who were conquered on this side of the earth by the Romans are from the lost tribes of Israel. Judah are those predominantly who ran into Africa. Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Judah the king, Benjamin the warrior, Levi the priest. So the covenant, the download is our people would begin to figure out who we are. That's the download. Because with a name comes purpose. There is no purpose for black people in prophecy. Every nation have defined role according to God's plan. And if you don't know who you are, you don't understand the purpose for you or your people. So now I'm giving you the download when the Most High is sitting in your temple, your brain. You'll start to realize that that covenant was with the same people of the Old Testament. Read.
Verse 9. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith the Lord.
We broke the covenant. Therefore, according to the Bible, there was a need for a new agreement. This agreement would be through spirit, where the Most High can communicate with us directly without having to come to earth like he did amongst the tabernacle in the Old Testament. He will speak to us. Read.
Verse 10. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days.
Come on.
Saith the Lord. I will put my laws into their mind.
I will put my laws into their minds. In the Old Testament, folks, it was him inscribing it in stone. So now he's reminding us of his law. We're coming back, we're reading the law, we're understanding the law, we're dealing with the grace and liberty that's within it. Also, by understanding the law, it puts us under the original religion that was given us. And also, it gives us a moral compass, which makes our people holy and are greater than Gentiles by default. We're greater than Gentiles who would compromise their morality by doing anything, sleeping with anything, eating anything. Automatically, that rises our people above the fray, above the hive mind. See? For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my laws into their mind. Download. Read.
And write them in their hearts.
And write it in their hearts. Read.
And I will be to them a God.
I will be to them the God. They'll know my name. They'll understand that there's many gods, but now that individual is serving the true God. The God who gave Moses the law. The God who gave Moses his name. The God who sent his son to confirm everything written concerning the agreement. What agreement? The Israelites will rule the earth. Christ's kingdom will soon come to earth, and there will be a war between our God and Christ and the Gentile military forces. Read.
I will be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people.
Come on.
And they shall not teach every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, Know the Lord. For all shall know me, from the least to the greatest.
All shall know me, folks. So the Most High is downloading this truth and law in our people. And on the contrary, to combat the download, the Satanists have overtaken schools to try to re-educate, our people, children, contrary to the download. Pronouns, and I'm this gender, and I'm that, all trying to confuse the children with psychological torture to disrupt the download. This is why they're targeting the children right now, folks, with all types of madness and mental illness. It's all about what? It's all about stopping the awakening. They must focus on the brain. If they can claim something is wrong with you, then they can get you on some type of psych stuff that will really disconnect you at that point. You got crazy people diagnosing people as crazy. And this is why the Bible says we must stay sober-minded. We have to do everything we can to stay natural and not be on any level of stuff that they would call meds and all that stuff. A sober mind. And we should have the religious right to do so. Now, some people might ask, well, Elder Ricochet, why are you saying this? Well, let me show you. Fair use. Because now that we're waking up, there's a plan for the brain. We talked about this yesterday. How now graphene can be attached to water supply. Graphene is a metal for water treatment now. Graphene is a metal. Once you consume this, something happens in connection with the brain. In connection with the brain. Now I'm about to go through all that in 1 second. I'm going to show you how they know the download is coming and it's happening. And I'm going to show you how they are countering this and what their plans are leading to the mark of the beast. 1 second, we'll be right back.
The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited.
All right, all right, all right. All right. Okay, brothers and sisters, thank you. Just had to take a quick break, and now we're going to jump right in. We're going to jump right in. Part 2. The brain, an attack on God's temple. An attack on God's temple. Okay. All right, great. Part 2. You can close the door for a second. As I mentioned earlier, brothers and sisters, that Satan and his ministers are planning to disrupt the signal. Now, one of the greatest evils that can be done to a brain is to have metals, nanometals, or any metals within our bloodstream. Metals automatically attacks the brain. It makes one dizzy. It makes one, your cognitive ability to think. It disrupts that. Right? And now they're talking about water treatment with graphene. Graphene is a metal. But what is the plan? It's to disrupt the signal, folks. I'm going to show y'all something real quick. That's why yesterday during Patreon, we made sure, we had to make sure that we had to make sure to discuss natural ways of metal detoxifications. Right? There's one thing in particular I thought I had here. DARPA. You see that?
The article?
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I have it here.
I think that's... Yeah,
there it is.
That's it.
Let's talk about it now. You get that? Mm-hmm. What are we looking at here, brothers and sisters? What do you see there? DARPA. What is DARPA? DARPA is Defense Advanced Research Projects Agencies. Folks, and this is not, folks, look at this. DARPA in the BRAIN Initiative. Okay. These are government initiatives through the government's defense system, the military apparatus. What you mean BRAIN Initiative? What are they trying to do? Elder Lawyer, let's read here the White House.
Yes, sir. The White House announced the BRAIN Initiative in April 2013.
During the Obama administration, read.
Today, the initiative is supported by several federal agencies, as well as dozens of technology firms, academic institutions.
Hold up. Technology firms? What else?
Academic institutions.
Schools.
Scientists,
your doctors.
And other key contributors to the field of neuroscience.
Read.
DARPA is supporting the BRAIN Initiative, through a number of programs, continuing a legacy of DARPA investment in neurotechnology.
Come on.
That extends back to the 1970s.
Come on.
An article in our 60th anniversary magazine provides an overview of the agency's recent research aimed at expanding the frontiers of the field and enabling powerful new capabilities.
Powerful new capabilities. One of those is work begins to support self-healing body and mind. To be able, folks, to move the doctor's office eventually out of the loop altogether and to use nanotechnology for prescription. To be able to just have science work inside the body for healing. Now, this is how it's going to be presented. When you look it up, they're going to try to present that this is a way to help the paraplegic and people who can't walk or lost limbs. But folks, this is way more nefarious and evil than what they're going to present with this. How do I know? Fair use. Fair use.
March 16th, 2018. March 16th, 2018. The U.S. government's Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, commonly known as DARPA, announces a bold initiative to develop what they call next-generation non-surgical neurotechnology. It is designed to allow the human brain to directly interface with machines.
Y'all hear that? Y'all hear that? The world was of one mind, one speech. Tower of Babel.
We know that DARPA is exploring human-machine interfaces that include direct connections between the brain and outside systems. That's been from the beginning of DARPA's information technology mission, and it continues to this day. DARPA has created some of the most influential technologies of all time, things that we use and take for granted every day, including the project that became the internet. They've created self-driving cars, stealth technology, GPS that fits in your pocket. That's DARPA's specialty, to imagine the future and create it.
Now check this out, folks. Fair use. Fair use, educational purposes only. Listen to this.
A new technology that is actually very much on the verge of being a reality that is being fielded is we could have a sensor maybe on the surface of our head, or maybe implanted somewhere in our body, in our brain, or something that allows us to interact directly with our communications gear, our processing gear, our weapon systems, and so on. But now imagine we take that technology and we can control robots at it.
See what they're doing? See what they're doing. Fair use. Fair use.
But there are those who believe that this same technology could also be used by DARPA as a new form of mind control. Like their counterparts at the CIA, DARPA-funded researchers have spent decades investigating how the human mind can be altered. In 1965, DARPA launched Project Pandora, which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to control human behavior. The project reportedly ended in 1969, but DARPA's investigation of how machines can affect and possibly control the brain continues to this day.
There are explicit programs of DARPA to read and write to human brains, whether it's through direct implants within.
What did he say? What did he say?
There are explicit programs of DARPA to read and write to human brains, whether it's through direct implants within the brain or wearing some kind of cap.
So how many of you think it's going to be wearing some type of cap? Huh? How many of you think it's going to be somebody with a hat on? Huh?
Control their actions, but that could be something that could be malicious.
You mean to tell me they have technology that can control people's actions? Now, what happens if you control someone's actions and they doing all levels of criminality and all that? You can, that's right. Now you have what? You have the autonomy to come in to bring order.
If there's some way to do it from a distance, a much greater distance than something that you can wear on your scalp, that would be the ultimate technological achievement that would fall into this realm of mind control and direct human-machine interface that DARPA may well want to keep secret.
In the near future, DARPA may possess the technology to remotely control the human mind. But as concerning as that may be, according to some scientists, a more permanent kind of mind control technology is looming. And it involves modifying the human brain by altering the human body's DNA.
I wonder. I'm sorry, the mic was off. The mic was off there. Brothers and sisters, I wonder what type of technology that came out for the last couple of years that could mean a genetic change in humans, in people. Just curious, just curious, just curious. I wonder. A genetic change. So, are these plans really leading towards mind control? Who knows? Well, DARPA has the technology to do so. Okay? But I'm going to put it all together for you. This is from the World Economic Forum. Listen to this. This is where medicine is going, folks. Fair use.
It is basically biological chip that it is in the tablet. And once you take the tablet and dissolves into your stomach, sends a signal that you took the tablet. So imagine the applications of that, compliance. The insurance companies to know that the medicines that patients should take, they do take them. It is fascinating what happens in this field. It is basically biological chip that it is in the tablet. And once you take the tablet and dissolves into your stomach, sends a signal that you took the tablet. So imagine the applications of that, compliance. The insurance companies to know that the medicines that patients should take, they do take them. It is
compliance, he said. So a chip they can put into the medication, because some people may get prescriptions and are really not taking it, right? For various reasons. It's on them. But they want to make sure you're taking the medication. Right? Chips and medication. World Economic Forum. What happens if you don't comply? Where are they going with this? Suppose it's psychological medicine and it's a chip in it to know whether or not you're on schedule. What happens if you don't comply? So obviously something is going on to where the governments of the earth is looking for total complicity with everything they're doing. Where free choice to deny it can be deemed what? Crazy or criminal? Now, that leads us to here. Neuralink. Here go your guy right here. Elon Musk. Elon Musk. He's just a front man for it, okay? This is all DARPA. Neuralink Corporation is a neurotechnology, thank you, Elder Lawyer, company that develops implantable brain computer interfaces. Founded by Elon Musk, if you believe that. He's just a front guy as far as I'm concerned. And a founding team of 7 scientists and engineers. The company's headquarters in Fremont, California. Oh yeah, neuroscience to control people against their own will. One mind, one spirit. Folks, this is a religion. This is the Babylonian religion to have everyone in compliance using the energy of people under their religion to help Satan. Leading to the war of Armageddon. Leading to the war of Armageddon. Oh yeah. Scientific American. DNA, the ultimate data storage solution. The double helix can archive a staggering amount of information in almost inconceivably small volume. May 2028. The changing of genetics. I wonder how they're going to do that. I wonder what they're going to institute in society that would allow your genetics to change. In order for your genetics to change, you'll also what? Your body will be primed to receive the next level of technology in which a person can be controlled altogether in this realm, linked to the computers. But normally, they would just roll some of this out, but they know that there's a consciousness or God's brain connecting with us. So they have to change DNA to cut off the signal altogether. So you're no longer considered human. Nephilim, anybody? And what were the Nephilims used for? The last war, the war of the Titans. Well, as in the days of Noah, then shall the coming of the Son of Man be. People will be utilized in Satan's army. But Satan must first disconnect you from the temple of God, then change you into something else to be utilized for the God you've been serving. The master you've been serving the whole time through sin. Satan himself. Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir.
Let's go to 1 John 3:1. So how does Satan incrementally get servants or people in the earth to eventually become mind-controlled soldiers? Let's go to 1 John 3 in the book of right before the book of Revelation. Right? Hold on. And Elder Lawyer started the first verse.
Yes, sir. 1 John chapter 3, verse number 1.
Come on.
Behold, what manner of love the Father hath bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of God. Therefore the world knoweth us not, because it knew him not.
Read that again. 1 John 3, read it again.
Yes, sir. Behold, what manner of love the Father hath bestowed upon us.
Now, examine the love our Father Ahia hath bestowed upon us, folks. Read.
That we should be called the sons of God.
That we should now be called the children of Israel. That now we can take on our true name with a purpose. Read.
Therefore the world knoweth us not, because it knew him not.
So the world rejects us because they didn't know Christ. They don't know God. This is why when you teach the truth of this Bible, people who don't understand its magnitude think it's cultish. They think it's a cult, when really the world is a cult. Read.
Verse 2. Beloved, now are we the sons of God, and it doeth not yet appear what we shall be, but we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is.
We shall see him as he is. And you know what, folks? In order for us to make it to this point, the Most High must see us as we were made. We are not to be changed. We are not to acquiesce to the technology that would lead to the mark of the beast, mind control. Christ is going to come back as he is, and he better find us the way God made us when we were born in this earth. They're using a technology to change us, targeting the brain. Read.
Verse 3. And every man that hath this hope in him purifieth himself, even as he is pure.
See? And everyone who have the hope to see Christ in this war, he will win, folks. We must purify ourselves as he's pure. That's the goal. That's the goal there. No technology, none of the stuff they're suggesting, any of that. We must keep ourselves clean. Read.
Yes, sir. If I can mention, this is the only change that we go through. This is the transformation we go through. Not technologically, but spiritually.
And I'm glad you're breaking that down, because Satan would try to do it on the earthy side, knowing that the Most High prophesied a change for the righteous.
Right. The great imitator.
Exactly. Great point, Elder. So here's the only change we can look forward to. We must be the man or woman God created without their technology and without their chemicals and all that stuff they're trying to push on, on the world. They're changing people into something else, folks. Read it.
Verse 4, whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law, for sin is the transgression of the law.
Now it's going into it. Those who would serve the living God and keep the download coming through the heavens, and those would eventually do what? Acquiesce and change. If you sin against God, you're no longer being communicated to. And by doing so, that's right, the God of this world will scare you into his technology and eventually trap your soul. I'm going to show you. Read.
Verse 5, and ye know that he was manifested to take away our sins, and in him is no sin.
Come on.
Whosoever abideth in him sinneth not. Whosoever sinneth have not seen him, neither known him.
See the importance of God's law? By sinning against God's law, you are proclaiming what? You are proclaiming outright that you renounce the God of all gods. By sinning intentionally, you're stating that out publicly that you serve the God of this world. That's the only distinction, according to the Bible, between those who would serve the highest God or the master of this world. You see how Christians are always making excuses to why it's okay for them to break God's law? Well, really, they're making a proclamation. They don't follow the God they don't believe in the God of the heavens. They follow the God of this world. Right? Read. And therefore, when something rolls out, the churches are lockstep with government. You notice that? The same way the people were lockstep at the Tower of Babel. Y'all notice that? Any initiative that the government pushes out, the churches promote it amongst their believers. Because they don't really serve our God. They serve the God of this world. See? Come on.
Yes, sir. Verse number 7.
Come on.
Little children, let no man deceive you. He that doeth righteousness is righteous, even as he is righteous. He that committeth sin is of the devil.
He that committeth sin are the children of the devil. Remember I went into you can only serve two masters? If you commit sin, you're showing the God you serve. You're showing the God over your temple, over your brain. See? Read.
He that committeth sin is of the devil, for the devil sinned from the beginning.
Come on.
For this purpose the Son of God was manifested, that he might destroy the works of the devil.
Come on.
And that's deep, because usually when we think of devil worshipers, we think of Marilyn Manson, we think of Charles Manson, we think of someone in all black, we think of a druid, we think of someone going to the satanic church or some type of druid temple. But the reality is that just simply breaking the Most High's commandments makes you a devil worshiper.
Straight up. And because someone doesn't bloodlet children or not hanging out with Madonna, you think that you're better. Okay. See? So Satan have did what? He distorted the moral compass. When really the moral compass comes with that tabernacle of God who gave us law. And therefore he sat in our brains directing us into true righteousness for the world to come. That's that download I'm talking about. But if you sin purposely and make excuses for your sin, automatically you're proclaiming you're the child of the devil, and therefore he have access to change you. Your change doesn't come from Christ. Your change come from the God of this world through their technologies and their chemicals. Read.
Verse 9, whosoever is born of God doeth not commit sin, for his seed remaineth in him, and he cannot sin because he is born of God.
Come on.
In this the children of God are manifest, and the children of the devil.
This is how you know those who will be saved under Christ and God, and this is how you know those who are serving the devil. It's not claiming, well, I'm a Christian and I believe in God and God knows my heart. Yeah, he know your heart. The Bible says the heart is deceitful above all things. Who can know it? God could care less about how you feel about him, more so than what you're doing to prove you love him. Yeah, he know your heart. The heart of man is evil. So all that, I know I'm sinning on purpose, and or I'm going to get with God later because he know I'm not right now. That's crazy talk. That's crazy talk, folks. These are children of the devil. Outright. Read.
In this the children of God are manifest.
This is how it's manifest. So you can know those that are being downloaded by God or those who have been downloaded by Satan. This is how you know. It shows in their actions. Read.
And the children of the devil.
Come on.
Whosoever doeth not righteousness is not of God, neither he that loveth not his brother. For this...
It says, and he that loveth not his brother. Read.
For this is the message that ye heard from the beginning, that we should love one another.
That we should love one another. Read.
Not as Cain, who was of that wicked one, and slew his brother. And wherefore slew ye him, or slew he him? Because his own works were evil, and his brother's righteous.
Come on.
Marvel not, my brethren, if the world hate you.
Marvel not if the world hates you, folks. Marvel not. I was around some people. I was in the store the other day, and they was talking about the stuff that they trying to get, added stuff, and whether or not they get more. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And I sat there in the store and said, I'm not putting that mess in me. Let me tell you, folks, you could see their faces transform. I could see their faces transform, the spirit in them that hated me. It's like all their face, they started moving around, their lips went up, their eyebrow went up. I can see the demon in them that hates me. I'm not taking that mess. And automatically they look at me like, how can you not be a part of the insemination? What makes you better or smarter than us? I'm not taking that crap. My body's fine. And then they start talking about, well, people died. No, I'm like, listen, people die every day. Don't, please. I'm here to get a sandwich. All right. Y'all keep y'all conversation going. And I said, A Gathering 144. Look it up on YouTube. Save your life. Okay. Automatically the world hates you because you don't do exactly what the television tells you to do. You don't follow CNN. You're not triggered through their racial plans to keep people divided. You're not going for it. You're not going for the cop with someone's knee on him talking about mama. You're not dealing with none of that because you understand how the government uses these triggers to keep you what? Under their control. Okay. Listen, I don't want to hear nothing about no cop against a person, a black man and all that. No, if you care about black people outright, if you care about a system to protect black people, give the black people in the neighborhoods, give them reparations and have them use the money to set up their own police force. End of story. No more cops killing black people. It's all over now. if you really care. So that's why I don't trigger over these stories no more, because it's ridiculous. It's to keep us off balance, keep us off target, keep us always worried so that they can come with a solution to destroy us. And at the same time, disconnecting us from our God's download. Always unsettling our people by doing what? Targeting our brains, keeping us off tilter, pushing drugs in our neighborhoods, all of this other stuff. When the Most High said what? The children of God are manifest. These are they who are sober-minded and follow God's law. And that's the God they serve and is being directed by. Excuse me. Finish reading, Elder Lawyer.
Verse 14. We know that we have passed from death into life.
We know that we have passed from death into life, so you can't scare us with death. You can't trigger us with, oh, look at these numbers. Oh, my God. Because we understand, folks, that those in Christ will be changed and have life everlasting. So you can't scare us into doing something in fear of dying. Okay, that's and the majority of time we understand that's inevitable. Life and death is inevitable, but the spirit is eternal, folks. So they try to scare you with death. So we know that we pass from what? From death into life. Read.
Because we love the brethren.
Because we love the brethren. Read.
He that loveth not his brother abideth in death.
He that loveth not his brother abideth in death. See, and this is why the governments in the world always incentivize friction, chaos, rumor. See, this is why drugs is incentivized in our neighborhoods. Gangs are incentivized in our neighborhoods. Right? Read.
15. Whosoever hateth his brother is a murderer.
Whoever hateth his brother is a murderer.
And ye know that no murderer hath eternal life abiding in him.
Come on, now hold that. You went down to the 24th verse?
That was 15.
You can read it all the way down to the 24th verse, but for time's sake, Elder Lawyer, let's get Isaiah 14:1, because the download is not just on us. The download is on the Gentiles who seek to follow and believe in the living God. The Gentiles are waking up too, as what we shown last Wednesday. Jeremiah 16:19. So what is the download that's happening for the Gentiles who are not Israelites right now? Well, let's see. Let's get Jeremiah 16:19 and Isaiah 14:1.
Jeremiah 16, verse number 19.
Come on.
O Lord, my strength and my fortress and my refuge in the day of affliction.
In the day of affliction, the same time they are afflicting our people. Read.
The Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies.
The Gentiles are waking up too. They're coming to us and saying, you know what? I'm sorry for how we viewed your people. We didn't know you were the children of God. Surely my educational systems of our people have lied to us. Surely the churches have lied to us. So here's the download that's going on with the Gentiles. The same time that our people are waking up, the knowledge of who we are is being downloaded into the Gentile nations. And they're seeking us for guidance through Christ. They're seeking us now for guidance. They've been tricked. They've been deceived into this racial spat against God's people. So that download is happening to Gentiles now. Like, hold up. I'm not going to view these people like black people. I'm not going to view them according to the social landscape of how the media portrays them. These are the children of Israel. That's the download on the Gentiles right now. Our God is speaking to them. And he's telling them, blessed are those who bless these people. and curse if you continue to curse them. See? And if you bless these people, here's your reward according to the Old Testament prophecy. I must go there too, because we're not the only people waking up, folks. The Israelites and the Gentiles are waking up. Let's read it.
Surely our fathers have inherited lies.
Come on.
Vanity.
Vanity.
And things wherein there is no profit.
The Gentiles are waking up and saying we were lied to. And now because we've been complicit along with the government with oppressing your people, because we've done this, they have set up a government using you as a model and have come after our children. So the Gentiles realized as long as they were separated from the oppression, separated from the marginalizing and killing and destruction, it was okay when they were in the good club, in the club where their children couldn't suffer what was going on with us. But they didn't realize that they always use our people, Judah, as the experiment before rolling it out on all people. So Gentiles thought that they were exempt from their children being targeted. And now they're realizing, well, hold up. I was tricked. I didn't know they were going to throw us in there with you all. How do we get out of this? And you know why they coming to us to get out of it? Because we've lived through it. This is something they aren't used to. So they need people with the experience to guide them out of this. We have the experience of being marginalized, looked at as less than other people, and still surviving and doing what? Believing in our God all the way through it, with a smile on our face, knowing that one day Christ will change everything. So they're looking to us on how to get through this, because we've always lived through it. They're not used to being thrown in and getting attacked and having their children re-educated against parents. They're not used to any of this. So they come into us for guidance. Right? And this is what was being downloaded on the Gentiles. Isaiah 14. Let's read Isaiah 14, 1 and 2.
Isaiah chapter 14, verse 1.
Come on.
For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel.
The Most High will have mercy on us. Even though our forefathers sinned, even though our people continue to sin, our God is still having mercy on us. For our father Abraham's sake, for his son's sake, that blood was shed so that our people would have another opportunity, folks. And for that, and for Christ's sake and for Abraham's sake, he's given us another shot at this. So no one out there can claim God didn't give opportunity. Everyone was told the truth. Jews and Gentiles. No one can claim at any space within their life that God wasn't speaking to them about this. Read.
For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel.
And will yet choose us, read.
And set them in their own land.
And set them in their own land.
And the strangers shall be joined with them.
And the strangers shall be joined with them, read.
And they shall cleave to the house of Jacob.
And they're cleaving to Jacob now. They're realizing that the religion called government, the Babylonian construct, is against family. It's against God. So they have no recourse but to join the winning team. So they're starting to cleave to Jacob now. They're leaving these churches. Read.
Verse 2. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place.
Come on.
And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids.
And that's what's being downloaded. Instead of working for this system, the Gentiles will work for a righteous one. It's being downloaded into them that they will serve God's people in the kingdom of heaven. A righteous servitude, not no picking cotton and baling and all this other crap they make you think service is. Service is you working for your corporations. That's service. Job opportunity is a servant. Okay? Now there's more, Elder Lawyer. The download. Let's go to Genesis 17, 7 and 8. So the download on the Gentiles, I'm going to go there. But here's a download for us, the children of Abraham. Genesis 7, 7 and 8. What's being confirmed in the spirit, right? Let's read it.
Genesis 17, verse 7.
Read.
And I will establish my covenant between me and thee.
God will establish his covenant between what? Us and him. Read.
And thy seed after thee.
And the seed after thee.
In their generations, for an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee, and to thy seed after thee. And I will give unto thee, and to thy seed after thee, the land wherein thou art a stranger.
The land that belongs to you. So it's starting, the download is we're strangers in a country we've been enslaved under, folks. And eventually we will desire a better place for our people, for God's people, and even the Gentile nations, a better world. Instead of the just staying comfortable, believing that what? Believing that we've accomplished anything. Well, no. There's no nation without a country. Jeremiah 24 and 7, Elder Lawyer. And Hebrews 11 and 16.
Jeremiah 24, verse number 7.
Read.
And I will give them an heart to know me, that I am the Lord.
I will give them a heart to know me. Read.
That I am the Lord.
That the Most High is our God. A higher read.
And they shall be my people.
And we shall be his people again.
And I will be their God.
And he's going to be our God. Read.
For they shall return unto me with their whole heart.
We're going to return to God with our whole mind. And with that comes, let's go to Hebrews 11 and 16.
Hebrews 11, verse number 16.
Come on.
But now they desire a better country.
Now we desire a better country. That's part of the download. Well, if I'm an Israelite, if I'm Israel, where's home? So now we're going to desire something better than this what? This Babylonian construct. See? And whence we were made as a people to serve. We're going to start desiring what?
A better country.
A better country.
That is in heavenly.
Read.
Wherefore God is not ashamed to be called their God.
Come on.
For he hath prepared for them a city.
He has prepared for us a city. Read.
By faith, Abraham, when he was tried, offered up Isaac. And
I need you to get that last piece again.
Yes, sir. Verse 16. But now they desire a better country, that is in heavenly. Wherefore God is not ashamed to be called their God. For he hath prepared for them a city.
He hath prepared for us a city, folks. And this is what they're trying to war against. This is why they're setting up the construct for the battle. That will be the battle of Armageddon. They're trying to go to the sides of the north in space because the Luciferians have taught within their religion that they win this war. And Lucifer will give all the leaders of this earth immortality. Yeah, crazy people, folks. But they believe this. But our kingdom is coming here. And when we begin to desire a better place, that takes away what? Us being comfortable in the land where our people served with rigor, where our people suffered. Right? Isaiah 56, 1 through 8. Isaiah 56, 1 through 8. Let's
Isaiah
read.
chapter 56, verse number 1.
Yep.
Thus saith the Lord, keep ye judgment and do justice.
Come on.
For my salvation is near to come, and my righteousness to be revealed.
Come on.
Blessed is the man that doeth this, and the son of man that layeth hold on it, that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it, and keepeth his hand from doing any evil.
See that? Now the Most High is putting us back on code, back in position to continually connect with his mind and receive the information given. He's saying now, on this Sabbath, make sure you keep your Sabbath together. Read.
Verse 3. Neither let the son of the stranger that have joined himself to the Lord speak, saying,
Neither let the son of the stranger, the Gentile, read,
that have joined himself to the Lord speak, saying, the Lord hath utterly separated me from his people.
So read that again.
Neither let the son of the stranger that have joined himself to the Lord,
The Gentiles who have come to the truth, read.
speak, saying, the Lord hath utterly separated me from his people.
Now the Gentiles don't have to feel if they were separated. Feel that they are different or that there's no benefit for them. The Most High is downloading that in the Gentiles. That he will accept you too if you follow the law, statutes, and commandments, keep the Sabbath, and teach the truth concerning God's people. That there's a space for you too. That you can't say, well, okay, where do I fit in with this? Neither shall the Gentiles say that they were separated from God's people. Why? Because the Gentiles who believe in the true God will walk away from the pagan God their forefathers served. They'll walk away from those temples realizing that's Satan's download. To do what? To serve the living God and understanding God's true people also. See? Read down to the 6th verse. Come on.
Yes, sir. Neither let the eunuch say, behold.
Hold up. What verses we at again?
Verse 3.
Verse 3. Isaiah 50 what?
56 and 3.
Start at 56 and 1 all the way down, folks.
Yes, sir. Verse 1. Thus saith the Lord, keep ye judgment and do justice, for my salvation is near to come, and my righteousness to be revealed.
Come on.
Blessed is the man that doeth this, and the son of man that layeth hold on it, that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it, and keepeth his hand from doing any evil.
Come on.
Neither let the son of the stranger that have joined himself to the Lord,
The son of the stranger who have joined themselves with this truth, Gentiles, and this scripture right here, slam all these people talking about, I don't teach white people. I don't teach other nations. Who are you? You better be careful. Because your great-great-grandfather could be a white man. Now what? Oh no, the spirit of the prophets subject unto the prophets. And they'll come with all this other mess. It's not your position to choose who get in and who can actually learn the truth of God. That's not your position. A teacher is an ambassador for the world to teach the whole earth about our Christ, knowing that all nations will serve him.
That's right.
That's nonsense. A man standing there talking about, well, I don't teach. Oh, you just like white people. Listen, you're acting like a petulant child. Okay? This don't have nothing to do with liking anyone. This is the gospel. This is what God say do. Oh, he's doing it so that more people can come in and all. Nah, that's how you think. I'm doing it because Christ commanded it. And that the Gentiles cannot say that they're separated from his people if they choose to serve him. Read on.
Neither let the son of the stranger that have joined himself to the Lord speak, saying, the Lord hath utterly separated me from his people. Neither let the eunuch say, behold, I am a dry tree.
Come on.
For thus saith the Lord unto the eunuchs that keep my Sabbaths, and choose the things that please me, and take hold of my covenant, even unto them will I give mine house, or in my house, and within my walls, a place and a name better than that of sons and daughters. I will give them an everlasting name, that they shall not be cut off.
Come on.
Also the son of the stranger that joined themselves to the Lord to serve him, and
the sons of the strangers who renounce paganism and begin to cleave to the God of all gods, a higher read.
And to love the name of the Lord, and to be his servants, everyone that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it, and taketh hold of my covenant, even them will I bring to my holy mountain, and make them joyful in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their sacrifices shall be accepted upon mine altar.
Look at that.
For mine house shall be called an house of prayer for all people.
For who?
For all people.
For who?
For all people.
For all people, not just Israelite people. And that's the download the Most High is putting in the Gentile nations, who in Isaiah, he said they're nothing. Why? Because they're serving gods who are nothing. Now, for the Gentiles and Israelites who decide to stay under sin and follow the darkness of this world, these are the people who will gladly accept the mark of the beast. These are the people who will be in the last experiment on earth by Satan, which is transhumanism. Transhumanism is a fancy word for mark of the beast. Where what? Revelation 13. Buy or sell. Let's get it.
Revelation 13, verse number 16.
Read.
And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads.
So you notice it says he will cause. So through political events, the solution is to eventually get chipped. Or you won't be able to buy or sell or travel. They already set all that in place when the cough happened March 2020. And made it where there was a threat that you could lose your job and all that. And some people say, is that the mark of the beast? No, it ain't. But the infrastructure of the mark of the beast was put in place through all of that. This is where the medical world, the political world intertwine under their religion. That religious Babylon, to have all people in one mind at the very end, because if they can have everyone chipped, they can all be controlled for one mission at the very end, like they were at the Tower of Babylon. Tower of Babel. You see, we put it all together for you and let you know that this is a religious plan to get all people in the earth to war, not just against us, but against Christ upon his return. This is how Satan initiates every man, woman, and child that's chipped into his army. Mind control, transhumanism. It was in the, folks, almost 2,000 years ago, it was written in the Bible. Everything they're doing right now. And yet churches, ministers, none of them is teaching none of this. As a matter of fact, they're going along with the satanic scientists. See? Read it.
17. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name.
Connecting people with Satan, the beast. 666, the number of a man. And it so happened the star of Moloch is 666, the inverted star, 6 points. Showing you the people who would be pushing Satan's program, bringing in transhumanism, all type of chemicals in the earth to attack the brain and disconnect us from God's temple. Only a few more. Revelation 16 and 14, read it.
Revelation 16, verse number 14. For they are the spirits of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth.
The kings of the earth.
And of the whole world.
And of the whole world.
To gather them to the battle of that great day.
To gather the whole world to the battle of the great day.
Of God Almighty.
Of God Almighty, folks. You see this? Gathering all people in one mind for that battle. Read it.
15.
And it says the kings of the earth. Let's go there again.
Verse number 14.
Come on.
For they are the spirits of devils working. In fact, I'll start at 13. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon and of the mouth of the beast and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth,
The kings of the earth, the governments,
and of the whole world,
and of the whole world, because now the whole world is under mind control.
to gather them unto the battle of the great day of God Almighty.
Look at that. It's ultimately the plan that God would have to wipe out those who don't believe and those who've always opposed him. The children of Satan. How do you get them all in one mind? Through the technology, through the chemicals, and have them voluntarily take all of this stuff, folks. Because that's right, they're doing it voluntarily. And these are the sinners who hate God. Because if they were morally sound and believed in God in the Bible, folks, they would never take or do anything this world is suggesting. So it's through their sin that's allowing Satan to gather them to be destroyed. I want to show this real quick. Let's go to Gog and Magog in Ezekiel. Here's an old ritual that's going on at the Kaaba stone. At the Kaaba stone. An old ritual. What is that? Why do they walk around the Kaaba stone? It's called the cone of power. The cone of power is a method of raising energy in ritual magic, especially in Wicca. The cone of power is visualized as a cone of energy that encompasses the circumference of the magic circle of Wiccans and tapering off to a point above the group. A group, the cone is formed by the Wiccans standing in a circle, sometimes holding hands and focusing on a single point above the group and in the center of the circle. They then dance, drum, chant, or perform various other ritual gestures in order to raise the energy and extend it upwards. When the state that these actions create has reached a peak, the ritual leader will signal the group and the energy is released upwards and the cone is sent towards the goal. This is called raising the cone of power. Raising the cone. Let me show you. And this is what happens at the Kaaba stone. This is what happens at the Kaaba stone, folks. Yeah, we're getting rid of this. There it is. Straight tripping. Straight tripping, folks. They're opening portals, folks. Now imagine that same energy that was at the Tower of Babel, where now it's not just Muslims walking around the Kaaba. It's not just Italians walking at the Vatican. Imagine everyone in the earth chemically changed with a chip in them, in their hand or their foreheads, all in tandem with one mind, walking around the portal with Satan to fight Christ in one mind. That's the plan, folks. The cone of power. Islam is Satan's religion. So is modern day Christianity. To assimilate the whole world under a Babylonian hive mind. To do what? Let's go to the battle of Armageddon. Let's read it. Ezekiel 38. Let's read it. Just
Ezekiel 38, verse number 1. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him.
Come on.
And say, Thus saith the Lord God.
Thus saith the Lord God. Now hold up now. In the ancient text, the ancient Eastern text, it tells us what, brothers and sisters? Same chapter and verse. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set your face against China, and against the land of the Mongolians, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him. Thus says the Lord God, behold, I am against you, O China. They worship the dragon. They come with the ancient Babylonian satanic plan. That's right. It's their plan along with the Europeans, folks, Amalek, to chip the world. This is why they were used to build the microchips and all that over in China. To do what? To do what? Come on.
And it says here, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Lord God.
Thus saith the Lord what?
Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, and even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords.
And this is why, folks, you see China over in the Middle East and Africa now. And a lot of them are military that are already chipped, folks. Now imagine once they get the solution in everybody and begin to chip everyone, what happens? Now they're all being commanded to go into the war at the Valley of Jehoshaphat. Some people are going to be fighting against their own will. You're going to have people who don't want to fight, who's going to be programmed to march into the cone of power to war against God. This is when all religions come together as one before the final battle. And I'm going to be talking about this battle in a few weeks in the academy, folks. And I'm going to deal with that more so in the next academy. That final war is deep. People who have a conscience not to fight are going to be forced to do it anyway because something else is going to be moving their body. Something else is going to be moving against their own thoughts. And they incrementally did it. They've done it incrementally. Separating people from God, scaring them into all these solutions and meds and all these other things. And eventually the technology is going to get them to a point where they can't even control themselves no more, to be used as a soldier under the God they served, Satan. Let's get that last scripture. Let's get it out of, and it tells you in the book of Ezekiel that they're going to think something in their mind that they're going to come against us in the wilderness. Let's read it in Ezekiel.
Yes, sir. Verse number 8.
The 8th verse. Let's read it.
After many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword.
What land is brought back from the sword, folks? That's our people in the wilderness. Read.
And is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste. But it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them.
We're going to dwell safely in the wilderness, but these chip transhumanism people who have changed, all of a sudden Satan is going to put something in their mind while we're in the wilderness. Read.
Verse 9. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land.
Come on.
Thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee.
And many people with thee, read.
Thus saith the Lord God, it shall come to pass that at that same time shall things come into thy mind.
It says things shall come into thy mind. They're all connected, folks. Under the chip. They're all connected under one mind like they were at the Tower of Babel. And all of a sudden they're going to stop fighting one another and try to come against us in the wilderness. And this is where it begins, folks. Because the Most High will protect us in the wilderness like he did once before. This is when everything goes dark, and then what? Light is shown. Every eye shall see. Christ is going to weave himself a mountain and come against the enemies at the border. Oh, yeah. Come on. Let's do it.
Verse 10, Thus saith the Lord God, it shall come to pass that at that same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages.
I will go up into the land of unwalled villages. Read.
I will go to them that are at rest.
At rest. Read.
That dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, and having neither bars nor gates.
That's us, folks, in the wilderness. This is their plan at the very end, have all these armies and people who are chipped to come against us in the wilderness. But let's see, real quick, in Esdras, you're going to have people in their armies and all that who don't want to fight, folks. But because what's in them, the chips and all that, they're going to be used to fight anyway. Let's go there.
2 Esdras 13, verse 8.
Come on.
And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight.
When Christ returned, folks, they're going to be afraid of him, but will fight anyway. Why? They can't control themselves. They're under the chip. They're under the mind control. When Christ returns, because who's going to fight something that they can't? Let me tell you, Christ is going to start at Rome, start at Israel, then he'll go to Rome and come right back. And he's going to be destroying the nations greater than David in an instant. And you have people that's chipped, transhumanism, who don't want to fight. They're thinking like, I don't want to fight him, but yet they're going to fight. What's going to happen? They're connected to the system, folks. They're chipped. And it's not just going to be an army. Regular people are going to be in this fight. Satan is going to use. There's no longer going to be recruitment for military. There'll be no need to recruit military. There'll be no need to recruit military. They'll get anyone to do their will anywhere in society. That's the future, folks, the near future. But they're starting it off by softening people up with what they would call pharmacy, getting the bodies together, getting everything primed to put a chip in you. And at that point, you're no longer human. You're no longer a son or daughter of God. And you will be used to fight on the wrong side of history. You will be used to fight the Christ you claim to once believed in. And if those, I'm going to tell you, here was the test. All of the people who claimed they followed God or believed in God, but yet you fell for what happened in 2020 and did what they said, that proves you have no faith, and when the rubber hits the road, you're going to choose the dark side. Revelation 14, let's go to what happens to those who get the chip, and then we're out.
Revelation chapter 14, verse number 9.
Let's do it.
And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image.
Now we understand what worshiping the beast is, folks. It's not just going to your temples. You're subjecting yourself to sin to show that you are a child of the devil. And because of that, you haven't received the download. You disconnected yourself from the brain of God, and now you're subjected to a lower vibration. When now Satan can convince you and trick you into yielding your body as a servant, a physical servant for him. Read.
If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his right hand,
Come on.
the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up for ever and ever, and they shall have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name.
There you go. If you allow them to chip you and to change you, your soul will be damned. And guess what? After doing that, that's one thing on earth you cannot repent from. You cannot repent from that. You have taken on Satan's spirit and have connected yourself to the computers. No longer are the things you're doing your own thoughts. They can control you now. You can sin. You can do all types of things beyond your control. So what must one do? Follow the laws, statutes, and commandments. Follow the 10 commandments. Start off with that. Follow the laws, statutes, and commandments. Love your fellow neighbor. Love your fellow neighbor. And guess what? Don't follow what they're signaling. Do not follow what the world is signaling. Whatever they implemented, do the reverse. I don't care what scare they put out there. What scare tactic? Stand on faith. Become sober-minded. Look at the side effects of the majority of some of these drugs out here, where people they can't even think straight because they own so much stuff. It's time to work towards being sober-minded and natural. And become natural so that you're not dependent on their stuff. Their stuff attacks the brain. And when your brain is weak, you'll succumb to their solutions. And their end game is a chip. Well, don't worry about taking this stuff. Don't worry about that. You do this and we can fix you from our desk. You don't got to worry about the prescriptions and all that stuff no more. You do this and we'll immediately fix your illnesses. And now, if you don't think that's technology that's already in play, you haven't been listening. The graphene, the stuff, yes, right. What DARPA talking about, the science of making it where they can actually fix you right there on Zoom. That's right, on Zoom. The nanoparticles go in and it fixes you and you don't have to take anything. All of that is actually, it's not alleged. It's actually science. This is where science is going. That will make doctors obsolete probably. We'll see. We'll talk about that in the future. Let me tell you, hard times are coming. Stand on faith, brothers and sisters, and be unmoved. Please, be unmoved. God has us. The Most High sees us. He has us. The same God who've awakened us to his glorious truth will protect us and guide us through this. But do not acquiesce. Do not break. Be the remnant whom God will serve in that day. Whom God will protect in that day. We must become that remnant. Okay? With that, like I said earlier, we're going to start enrollment of the Academy very soon for the first week of March. We're integrating everything into our own system. We'll have our own platforms, everything. So that now these other platforms cannot threaten whether or not this church can communicate with you in hard times. Through your help, we're going to need you to donate and all of that. We're creating our own platform for the Academy, videos, to chat. We're going to have our own platform. The Most High have us working towards it, and it isn't cheap. So we're going to need y'all support on that. And on top of that, we're looking to get more land and do certain things so that we can provide our own food, because I don't know what they're talking about they're going to do to food. We're going to need our own food. So I need y'all to donate, continue to support, because we must pivot and transition as the time grows near. Okay? We must plan. We must prepare. So I'm going to ask you all, make sure you go to gatheringofchrist.org, support everything that we have there, and make sure if you don't have Cash App, donate another way, because the money will not be wasted. We're going to put the money into something tangible to help our people through this, in, you know, when it all goes down. All right? So we thank you. We love you. Have a great Sabbath. We're on our way to Zion. Shalom.
Shalom.
My knees, laying my life on the line. I'm begging, please.
Keep your brain.
Please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Place my feet, guide my path. Show me the way to Zion.
I feel the Spirit calling me, drawing me back home. Oh, been suffering with my family. I know it won't be long. One day you're gonna look for me, and I'll be gone home. Yeah, Israel is calling us back home. I'm on my knees. I lay